Fault number 180 is Josh McGuire. Josh played 259 NRL games in a career that spanned 14 seasons and 3 clubs, the Brisbane Broncos, North Queensland Cowboys and the St George Illawarra Dragons. Josh also represented Samoa and Australia at international level, playing 7 tests for Samoa and 8 for Australia. He was a member of the 2017 Australian side that beat England in the World Cup final at Suncorp Stadium by 6 points to 0. Josh's Origin debut came in 2015, playing in the first 2 matches of the series before an Achilles tendon injury cut short his season. In the following 4 seasons, Josh McGuire played in all 12 matches for the Maroons, his final game being Game 3 of the 2019 series. Well, Josh McGuire, welcome. What does it mean to you to be a FOG?
It's probably something I always wanted to do. Since I played rugby league, it's only one thing that you wanted to be a part of something bigger than you, I guess, and made me emotional now thinking about it. Yeah, it's something that I can have for the rest of my life that no one could take away from me.
It came after a few years of playing in the NRL.
Yeah.
What was, if it's emotional for you now, what was it like at the time you were told you're going to represent Queensland?
Yeah, I was pretty emotional because it's during the time of when they were so dominant, so it was harder to get in. And I was probably close early in my career, but I stuffed up on an Origin camp, in an emerging camp. I got on a drink and carried on, and I wasn't mature enough, but at that time I was playing footy where I felt like I was definitely close enough, but it probably cost me a couple of years. So I thought I'd really done my chances in by then. And then, when it did come and Mal gave me the opportunity, I'd been a 80th man beforehand too, so I was hungry and excited for the opportunity. So, good things come to those who wait, I guess. And I waited and I finally got the opportunity just to do it with some of the guys I got to do it with. It was a dream come true.
What was the moment like when you found out? What was your first reaction? Was it one of satisfaction, nerves, excitement, or a mixture of everything?
More just like disbelief, I guess, at the start, and then I was just emotional. I called my partner and my dad and my mum, and at the start I thought it was a G-up. I thought someone was, taking the piss, I guess. But, I was just, then once the realisation when I walked into camp and you walk into the hotel and you look around and see the guys and you're becoming one of them, I guess, in a certain sense. Then the expectation of you don't want to be that. I didn't want to be a one-game player. I wanted to be there and stamp my own mark on my jersey and take it with both hands. And I couldn't believe the guys who I was doing it with, and it was more just I didn't want to let them down and let the jersey down, or the expectation that came with playing for Queensland, which is it's not necessarily winning or losing, it's just giving everything you have. So that was something I prided myself on, and going that extra mile for my teammates, and there wasn't anything I wasn't going to do to try and win for Queensland.
You played 14 out of 15 in your 5-year Origin career. The only game you missed was because of your Achilles tendon injury. What does that mean to you that over that 5-year span that you were selected in every game that you were available for?
I was pretty lucky with my footy. Like, I kind of hit this purple patch during that period, and it was probably more the fact that I probably started believing that I could do it, I guess. It was more, at the start I was just happy to be there or happy to be around everyone, and it wasn't really until a little bit later that I kind of really knuckled down and gave myself an opportunity to play high-level football. And, I was just proud to be a part of something that was bigger than me, and especially coming off the back of Mal's era, like I got to play for Mal, then we kind of had that changing of the guard, and Smithy and Slats and Coops was starting to retire, and there was that expectation that we were going to fall away, and those guys who'd done it for so long were going, and we couldn't do it, and we still managed to find ways to win football games, and we lost a couple of series, but we were always there. It's always come down to the last whistle. We never gave up. So, it's something I'm very proud of. My kids still, they still see Queensland stuff around, and they associate that with me, and something I'm very proud of. And, I'll just, when I do get old and I sit around and I watch it now, even watching the guys play now, it's something that, I'm still super passionate about and gets my blood boiling when I watch the games. And I just love it. I just love being a part of this group, really. It's a very select few, and to be able to say that I'm a FOG is something that I hold very close to my heart.
Take us back to 2015, that first game of the series, your first game playing for Queensland. What are your memories? What was it like waiting to play that first game from the time you got selected to actually running out on the field? Must have, in some respects, seemed like an eternity.
Yeah, it was crazy, especially in Sydney as well. And then we were just kind of, remember sitting on the bench, and Mao was really good at putting you at ease, I guess, and kind of give you a direct kind of know when you're going to come on and how he's going to use you. So that was all good. And I remember getting on the field, and Smithy and Coops and those kind of guys make it really easy when you debut. They just get you the ball early, and once you have your first tackle and your first run, you kind of, okay. And you forget too that these are the same guys you play against every week, but obviously there's a drive in you that's different. And to play down there against New South Wales was awesome, and I just loved being a part of it. And once I had a taste, I didn't want to give it up. It was, I don't think I took my jersey off for like 2 days. Like, I was just so pumped to be a part of it. And it was just, I did it with like people who I hold very close to my heart, like Gillo and guys at the Broncos, Corey Parker and Thaiday, and guys who I grew up with and watched growing up, that to do it standing next to them and sing the national anthem, and then to hold the shield at the end of the year, that kind of stuff is special.
It seems the common theme from all FOGs and even New South Wales players as well is the speed of the game. Origin is so much quicker. Yeah. Is that something that you found as well?
Yeah, it was just, when I try to explain it to people, I feel like it's a different game. Like, it's not NRL. I don't know how many Origin players you see play club footy and you're like, oh yeah, he's a good player, but then you see them in NRL. I mean, you see them in an Origin game and they just go to a different level. It's just, like, I think it's a different sport, really. Like, you just either built for it or you're not built for it, and the speed doesn't stop, and you obviously get away with a bit more. Like, the referee puts away the whistle, so it kind of suits the guys who, just kind of put themselves into that, I don't know, not autopilot, but into a grind of that grinding mentality. And I just feel like Queenslanders probably do it a bit better. We've never been the flashier players or, most I was not very skillful at all, but I just had a drive in me, and that I felt like that Origin suits those kind of players. So I was very lucky, and I love guys like Nate Miles and Dallas Johnson and Matt Scotts and Corey Parker's. Like, they just got it done, and just to be out there and experience it with them and feel the speed of the game of how it unfolds. You don't really get a chance to be tired because you're so tired that everything's happening so quick, movements and everything's just kind of becomes second nature.
Did it make you a better player?
Yeah, I think so. I think once I tasted it, it was like, yeah, okay, I can do this. And, you start the expectations and the reality of it, that I'm catching the ball off Smithy, I'm passing the Jono, Cooper Cronk's telling me where to go, just those kind of things. You just get a self-belief, I guess. I think the maroon jersey does that to you, become 10 foot tall and bulletproof, and I'm not the biggest guy on the field, but when I was out there, I always thought I was, the biggest guy, and I tried to play like that, and I just loved every opportunity to put that on, and you don't realise what you have until it's gone, and, I'd do anything to wear the maroon jersey and in anything. Like, I don't care what sport, if it's lawn bowls, like, I'll still compete hard if I have a maroon jersey on.
Is there any moments in those 14 games that stand out?
There's that 2017 series. We were kind of under the pump, and then I think it was Jono's last game, and we kind of made a break down the right. Smithy kind of come out, and we kind of, I rolled out of a tackle and made a half break, and I didn't really do too much. I don't know how the hell I got through, but I got through, and I think I passed it to, it might have been Gags or Coops, and then we scored in the corner, and then it was just like that never say die attitude, I guess, that we just found something, and and then once we got the game back to Queensland, I knew we weren't going to lose that. So it was just, that mentality of to keep to your process, and it was never, you do something different. It was like, we just keep doing what we know, and we're going to break you down, and they're going to break before we break. So I just had that belief when I looked into Smithy's eyes or Coops or Jono, like you just felt better and you felt safe, I guess.
Yeah. I mean, you've represented your country. You've played in a World Cup final. You've achieved everything in that respect. But is there a greater feeling than walking out on a Lang Park in front of 50-odd thousand Queenslanders with that maroon jersey on?
Yeah, nothing's better than that. If you could put it into a bottle and keep it for the rest of your life, you would. Just sharing that with the same guys as well. There's something there that I don't know why it works or why it feels so good, but it just, and you can't explain it or express it until you have it, I guess. Obviously, there's everyone who in Queensland has that passion, but when you do finally get to taste it and feel that, there's nothing else like it for me.
Well, how would you like to be the owner of one of these? A FOGS authentic game ball signed by Wally Lewis at the 2023 Wally Lewis medalist Reuben Cotter. Now, all you have to do is subscribe, like, and drop a comment below. And each week, gentlemen, we'll be giving away one of these footballs to one of the viewers of the FOGS Queenslander podcast. Well done.
Well, it's good to be able to hand them on to the general public who like it, as long as we don't get blamed for breaking one of Mum's windows when they're kicking it around the backyard or tossing it around.
But this will be framed in a nice
Reuben Cotter's name. Wow.
Do you know how to subscribe and like and do all that, Gilly? No?
Oh. We can help you, mate. We can help you.
Help me out, fellas.
The two daughters can help you out.
So we have one of these to give away each week until stocks run out, until Wally gets sick and tired of signing them and Reuben Cotter disappears. But just subscribe to our channel, FOGS Queenslander Podcast. Write a comment below and click that like button. Everyone goes into the draw, and we've got one of these to give away each week. Well, let's find out how you got to that stage. Growing up, you moved around, your family moved around, your father was in the Defence Force.
Yep.
But you didn't start playing footy until, your mid-teens?
Yeah, I was 14. I was kind of bouncing around from sports to sports. I had a friend ask me to come down and play at Aspley, just come and try. They were kind of quarter way through their season as well, so I didn't even start the season. And I'd never really played it before. I just knew the ins and outs of it. And then I went down, and it was just happened to be a Brisbane rep trial. All the teams were playing at one spot, and my first game, they put me on the wing, and I was just aggressive and big and just did my thing. I didn't know what I was doing, and then I kind of realised, that's right. And then I ended up playing within a year. I played for Australian schoolboys, playing rugby league, so. And then 5 years later, I made my NRL debut. So
was there a moment there that switch went on and thought, hang on a minute, I go okay at this, and this might be, a career?
Yeah, I think it was more. To be honest, I was a very naughty kid. Growing up, I never really cared about too much. As in, circumstances wise. I was a very rogue kid, so. I was violent as a kid and pretty aggressive, so it was something that I got to express myself on the football field and not get in trouble for doing that, I guess, to a certain way. And it wasn't until I was probably 23 and I met my wife that I actually stopped.
The turning point for you?
Yeah, it's the biggest turning point. I always knew I was capable, but I was quite a big kid too. I kind of stopped growing at 15, 16, but I was a bit of a man-child as a junior, so I was always bigger and stronger and more aggressive than everyone, so it was that side of stuff was easy for me. It wasn't until I got into the professional program and I realised I just stopped growing, so I wasn't going to be bigger, so I had to find a work ethic and find something else that was going to get me to the top. And again, I wasn't the most disciplined kid or person off the field. I was quite happy to drink and fight and do all the things that you do as a young man. So it wasn't until later that expectation or that realisation that I could play for Queensland, and I was playing NRL doing these things, and what was going to happen if I decided to pull my head in a bit and try hard. And it was just lucky I met my partner and had kids and kind of put me on the straight and narrow.
Was there a chance you might have fallen by the wayside if that hadn't happened? Were you given any last chances, or was there a time you thought,
You could ring Paul White or Bruno Cullen from the Broncos. I had plenty last chances. I didn't, the way I was, I didn't deserve the opportunities I probably got. I probably got the opportunities purely because of my football ability. I'm still learning now, like you still make mistakes as a person, but I'm very grateful that what football's given me and just some life lessons, I guess. But it's more the people you meet along the way, players and stuff that do guide you, and you pick up traits of other players subconsciously, I guess, that probably help you develop as a person, not just as a football player, but as a father and a partner and a dad. So, I'm very grateful for what rugby league's given me.
That time with the Broncos, you missed the 2015 grand final with an Achilles injury.
Yeah.
Is that, I suppose, one of the biggest on-field disappointments, the fact that, you had to sit and watch your teammates beaten in the grand final?
Yeah. Lost my eye in 2011.
Yep.
And that was probably a point, I was only 21 and kind of got told I shouldn't play footy anymore. So just then to fight back, especially, like I said, through some other adversities along the way, injuries, and then finally play Origin and do the things I wanted to do, and then snapped my Achilles just before the third Origin and before the grand final. It was a huge kick in the guts. But it was, more another point in my career where I was like, I can either be happy and rest on playing 2 games and, or try and come back. And I was very lucky that I had amazing medical staff at the Broncos who, from 15, come back and played, for Australia within 6 months of tearing my Achilles or whatever it was. So that just gave me the belief that I can do it. And it was just emotionally draining, and just to go from the eye to the Achilles, and then along the way I've had a million other setbacks. But that was probably the most hardest part, to finally get a taste and then have it taken away again. And to sit back and watch what happened to the Hunty was heartbreaking. I just wish John had kicked the goal from the sideline, to be honest. So, the better team won on the night. We didn't deserve the win, obviously. To say that it was traumatising, and it's to say the least, but that's part of rugby league, the highs and lows.
Yeah, the eye injury came in 2011, an accidental poke in the eye from a teammate.
Yep.
And that would have been traumatic for anyone, but would a young Josh McGuire have coped as opposed to a maturing Josh McGuire?
Yeah, I think it was probably the rogueness in me that didn't accept it really. I guess to mature myself, I was still going through a pretty steep learning curve in how to be a good man and expectations of being a professional football player. So when I had to talk with the doctor at the start, it was like, it's time to think about something else, I think, and that we don't know if we can save it or if we can just put it back together in general, or if they'd have to remove it. And then, what would happen after, and how I needed to learn how to, catch again, and depth perception and all the different things that come with when you lose it. I think it was just the bit of the, not taking no for an answer kind of thing in me, I guess, that didn't accept it, and I was willing to take that risk. I didn't know any other way to provide for my wife and kids, so it was what I had to do, I guess. And, I'm glad I didn't.
Well, so the point is, most of your success on the field, representing Queensland, representing Australia, and Samoa as well, you played a test, I think, before that happened. But most of that success came after that eye injury, which says something about your mentality or your fighting spirit, does it not?
Yeah, I just think it was more I had no more chances left, I guess. It was probably somebody upstairs telling me to pull my head in, and it was the last warning, I guess. But obviously got the Achilles after it again, so I must have done something wrong along the way. But it kind of narrowed my focus, I guess, into what I wanted to do. And there's also the realization, I hadn't finished high school. I had no degree. I had no trade. I hadn't prepared myself at all, taught myself as a young man of how to be or act. that now the one thing that I thought was going to be there forever is a chance of being taken away. That I probably narrowed my focus a lot more to be professional and train and diet and, you know, not drinking and not partying and not blowing my money on things I shouldn't be blowing it on. And it wasn't until that, the opportunity or the expectation of that it's going to be taken away that I go, oh, all right then, I need to do something.
Well, do you see the opportunity that you can teach others, or make those that might be starting in their career now don't do what I did?
Yeah, like for perfect example is young Tommy McGilbert. You know, so just feel so shattered for him. He's such a good kid, and I look at Tommy and I see myself. But apart from Tommy, he's just a good kid. Where I was probably the complete opposite. But the way he plays footy, you know, I just love the way he carries himself, and he's done his shoulder and. Now he's ACL. You know, I reached out to Tommy. I know Tommy when he was at the Cowboys, and it's not what defines us, it's what builds us. And look back in 20 years' time, and he'll have all the Origin jerseys on his wall and his awards, and it'll be the turning moment like it was for me. I have no doubt about that.
Well, it's not 20 years, but it's a few years now. Looking back, and you're able to, now that you've retired, you look back on 14 Origin matches and 15 tests for Samoa and Australia. You're a World Cup winner as well. How do you look back on your career?
You know, I'm quite happy with it. You know, there's some regrets there for sure of how my career went up and down, and some things that happened on the football field that I'm not proud of. But overall, I can sit back, I'm happy. I'm probably relieved, to be honest, that it's over. I love the game, but probably what it brought out of me as well is probably like expectation, or just the person I was on the field wasn't who I was off the field. And it's funny, like, I love the game of rugby league more than anything, but what I was willing to do or go to over those years probably didn't sit well with me as a dad and my feelings, I guess. So now it was a relief when I decided to retire. It was like the biggest relief ever when I got to come home and finish football. But I look back on my career, I'm super proud.
Let's wrap it up with some of the favourite moments, some of your favourite teammates. Who did you enjoy playing with?
Over Queensland, like me and Matty Gillette, like we have a tight relationship. Corey Parker, obviously all the Broncos guys, Ben Hunt, you know, just seeing the guys, obviously, what we you know, you go through things as especially young men, you grow up together and you see each other's flaws and good moments, I guess, but just to share that then with those guys along the way is something special. Like, Corey Parker was a huge influence in my football career and becoming a professional, and I got to share the field with him on my Test debut and then my Queensland debut as well. So there's just guys like that. Sammy, I didn't get to play with Lockie, but he was another professional guy that I got to be around as a young man that probably helped direct me in the right direction. And then Nate Myers is one of my favourite players of all time. So I don't know, the list is so long, you know. I didn't know about true professionalism until I met people like Billy Slater and Cooper Cronk and Cameron Smith, and then you get freak athletes like Greg Inglis and Jonathan Thurston, the most instinctive football player I've ever seen. So you get to see all these guys and put everything and take bits and pieces of that you think will work for your career and hold it together. But I've got my Queensland jerseys on my walls at home, and my kids look at it and see all these greats, and then see Dad now on the wall, and it's something I'm very proud of.
Lastly, any advice you'd give a young bloke starting out in the position that you were 20 odd years ago? What advice would you give?
Don't let anyone tell you can't do something. You can do whatever you want, and figure out what you're good at and be the best at that. And don't forget where you come from.
Josh McGuire, thanks for your time.
Thanks, mate.
Thanks for watching this episode of the FOGS Queenslander Podcast. If there's a FOG you want to hear from, leave a comment to let us know. And don't forget to like and subscribe so you don't miss any of our videos.